China's emergence as a global economic and military superpower has had significant implications for global politics and economics. How did China become one of the most powerful and influential nations in the world today? What are the factors that shaped its rise, and what are the challenges it faces in the future? In this video, we will explore the history of China's rise to power and examine the factors that contributed to its success. Between 1949 and 1978, China underwent significant political changes that had a profound impact on its geopolitics and its role in the international community. In 1949, the Communist Party of China, CPC, took power and established the People's Republic of China, which marked the beginning of a new era in Chinese history. Under the leadership of Mao Zedong, China adopted a policy of self-reliance and sought to establish itself as a socialist state. During this period, China was largely isolated from the international community, with few diplomatic relations and limited participation in international organizations. China's foreign policy was driven by ideology, with a focus on supporting other socialist and communist movements around the world. China's geographical position during this period was shaped by its relationship with the Soviet Union, which was its primary ally and source of support. However, tensions between China and the Soviet Union began to emerge in the late 1950s and early 1960s, with China accusing the Soviet Union of betraying socialist principles and promoting revisionism. China's geopolitical position was also shaped by its involvement in regional conflicts, such as the Korean War and the Vietnam War. China provided support to communist forces in both conflicts, which helped to establish its position as a key player in regional affairs. In 1972, China's geopolitical position began to shift with the historic visit of U.S. President Richard Nixon to China. This visit marked the beginning of a process of rapprochement between the United States and China and paved the way for China's increased engagement with the international community. In 1978, China underwent significant political and economic reforms under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, which marked a turning point in its geopolitics. China's foreign policy shifted towards pragmatism and economic development, and it began to engage more actively with the international community. China's rise as a global power in recent decades can be traced back to the reforms and opening up of policies of the late 1970s and early 1980s. These policies paved the way for China's rapid economic growth and modernization, and enabled it to establish itself as a major player in global affairs. China's economic reform period from 1978 to 2000 was a critical period in the country's history that transformed its economy and set the stage for its emergence as a global economic powerhouse. This period was marked by a series of economic reforms that enabled China to transition from a centrally planned economy to a market-oriented economy, unleashing a period of rapid economic growth and modernization. The economic reforms began under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, who emphasized the importance of economic development and the need for China to open up to the outside world. The reforms included measures such as the establishment of special economic zones, which provided preferential treatment for foreign investment, and the liberalization of prices and foreign trade. One of the key elements of the economic reforms was the decollectivization of agriculture, which allowed farmers to work on their own plots of land and sell their produce in the market. This led to a significant increase in agricultural productivity and helped to lift millions of people out of poverty. The reforms also included the privatization of state-owned enterprises and the development of a more market-oriented financial system. This enabled China to attract foreign investment and to develop a modern industrial sector, which played a key role in China's economic growth and development. China's economic growth during this period was remarkable, with an average annual growth rate of over 9%. This enabled China to become the world's second largest economy by the end of the period, with a GDP of over $1.2 trillion. However, the economic reforms also had their challenges. The rapid economic growth led to increased income inequality and social stratification, with some regions and industries benefiting more than others. Environmental degradation also became a serious issue, as China's rapid industrialization led to pollution and resource depletion. Despite these challenges, the economic reforms of 1978 to 2000 laid the foundation for China's emergence as a global economic power. The reforms enabled China to become a major player in global trade and investment, and helped to lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. China's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001 also marked a significant milestone in its economic and political development. Joining the WTO signaled China's commitment to a more market-oriented economy and opened up new opportunities for trade and investment. China's accession to the WTO was a long and complex process that required significant economic and legal reforms. In order to comply with the WTO's rules and regulations, China had to make significant changes to its economic policies and legal system. This included reforms in areas such as intellectual property rights, foreign investment regulations, and trade barriers. Joining the WTO enabled China to expand its trade and investment relationships with other countries, particularly the United States and Europe. This led to a significant increase in China's exports and foreign investment, which helped to fuel its economic growth. However, globalization and China's integration into the global economy also had its challenges. The rapid growth of China's economy and its emergence as a major exporter led to concerns about job losses and economic competition in other countries, particularly the United States and Europe. These concerns were exacerbated by China's currency policies, which some argued gave it an unfair advantage in international trade. Globalization and China's integration into the global economy also had domestic challenges. The increasing reliance on exports and foreign investment led to a widening income gap and social inequality within China. The environmental consequences of China's rapid economic growth also became more apparent as pollution and resource depletion became increasingly pressing issues. Despite these challenges, China's integration into the global economy through its entry into the WTO marked a significant turning point in its economic development. It enabled China to become a major player in global trade and investment and helped to lift millions of people out of poverty. The implications of China's rise as a global superpower are complex and far-reaching, with significant implications for the future of the world order and international relations. One of the key implications of China's rise is the potential for increased competition and conflict with other global powers, particularly the United States. As China's global influence continues to grow, there is a possibility that it may result in increased competition and geopolitical tensions with other global powers, including the United States. Another implication of China's rise is the potential for a shift in global power dynamics. As China's economic and political power grows, it may lead to a reordering of the global power structure, with China playing a more prominent role in shaping international relations. China's rise also presents opportunities for increased cooperation and collaboration in areas such as trade, climate change, and nuclear proliferation. However, it also raises concerns about China's human rights record and its use of technology for surveillance and social control. Some suggest that China's rise may pose a challenge to the United States' long-standing position as the dominant global power, potentially leading to conflicts and tensions in the international arena. However, it is important to note that the future of China's relations with other global powers is difficult to predict, and there are various factors that may impact these relationships. While increased competition and tension may be a possibility, there is also the potential for cooperation and collaboration in areas of mutual interest. Ultimately, the nature of China's relations with other global powers will be shaped by a range of economic, political, and social factors, and it is important to consider all perspectives in understanding the implications of China's rise. The implications of China's rise extend beyond geopolitics and international relations. China's growing economy and investments in areas such as renewable energy could provide opportunities for other countries to benefit from China's growth. However, the rise of China also raises concerns about environmental degradation and resource depletion, as China's rapid economic growth has placed significant strain on its natural resources. The future of China's rise is a topic of great interest and debate among scholars, policymakers, and observers around the world. China has achieved remarkable economic growth and diplomatic influence in the past 4 decades, lifting hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and becoming a major player in global affairs. However, China also faces many challenges and uncertainties that could limit or alter its trajectory in the coming years. Some of the factors that could affect China's future growth include its demographic decline, its reliance on capital-intensive investment, its slowing productivity growth, its environmental degradation, its trade and technological rivalry with the United States, and its strategic encirclement by neighboring countries. Depending on how China addresses these issues and how the international system responds to its rise, China could either continue to grow at a relatively high rate, experience a substantial shutdown, or face a more dramatic crisis. Different scenarios have different implications for China's role in the world and its relations with other countries. If China maintains its growth momentum, it could become the world's largest economy by market exchange rates and challenge the existing order led by the United States. If China slows down significantly, it could face domestic instability and lose its leverage in regional and global affairs. If China encounters a major crisis, it could pose a threat to regional peace and stability. Therefore, the future of China's rise is not predetermined or inevitable, but rather contingent on various factors and choices. It is also not a zero-sum game between China and the rest of the world, but rather an opportunity for cooperation and mutual benefit. The challenge for all parties involved is to manage the risks and uncertainties of China's rise while maximizing the potential for positive outcomes. China's rise as a global superpower is a remarkable achievement, with the country's economic success and increasing influence on the global stage having significant implications for global politics and economics. While the future of China's rise is subject to many challenges, there is no doubt that China will continue to play a significant role in shaping the future of the world. As China continues to assert its influence, it is essential for the world to understand the implications of its rise. Understanding the factors that contributed to China's success can provide valuable insights into the future of global politics and economics.